on Ridealong, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess you call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Ridealong live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.
Yeah, it's the real deal. How you guys doing? Welcome to Ridealong Live for today. Welcome to Thursday on the ride. Beautiful Thursday, boy. Inside Studio A one more time. I don't even want to tell you guys why I'm here again, but don't worry about that. It's not where I'm at. It's why, right? Why I'm here. And I guarantee you guys that today's program is going to really make you think. Yeah. It's going to make you think about this beautiful thing called life. I know we go around every day, we do things, we get up in the morning, you know, we take a shower, we go to work, we come home, and we take everything for granted. You even take the breath that you just took a second ago, you took that for granted as well. You took the ability to wink or blink your eye, you took that for granted. And you're saying to yourself, that happens, I ain't gonna worry about it. But my next guest has this story to tell that's gonna make you rethink or think twice about the breath that you just took, because it's not guaranteed. So let me take it from the top. Let me make it, I'm not gonna preempt much of his story. I know when we posted the story, a lot of people said that why would someone want to plan their own funeral? A lot of people initially thought and said and assume that the person that we're speaking about have COVID, and he's so frustrated about COVID that he just wanted to give up. But it is not COVID. It had nothing to do with COVID. My next guest has a disease called ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And for those of you who don't know about it, you'll learn a lot more. But in simple form, ALS is a muscle degenerating disease. You know, I'm not even going to say anything more about it. I'm going to just bring on my next guest. Let me see if I could get him on. He just dropped out, but he's going to be back on. So it is a very sad one, guys. He's coming up right now. But let me play back a little clip of this video. He just came from Carriacou, right? Jack just came from Carriacou, and the purpose of him visiting Carriacou was to plan his own funeral. Because right now, Jack is ill. And as far as what doctors are saying, he might have about another year to live. So, you know, when you go to a funeral, people are gathered around and they gathered around the casket and they're saying all these things about the individual that's dead. But the truth and the fact about it is the person, the individual,
things about the individual that's dead.
The individual can't hear nothing. The individual is dead. So he planned this funeral while he was alive, and he went through the whole process of it. And I'm not going to say anything more. I'm just going to welcome my good friend, my newly found friend, Jack, to the program. Jack.
Hi.
How are you, my friend?
I'm okay. Today's a good day.
Today's a good day.
Yeah.
I preempted part of your story by saying that this is going to be an emotional one. And because we're talking about life and death, and we're talking about something that's very imminent. Everyone is going to die someday.
Yes.
But you, sir, took it to the next level. You went ahead and decided to plan your own funeral. You were present at your own funeral. We're going to get to that, but I want to start back from where it all started. Tell us about the disease that you were diagnosed with and why you saw the need to plan. Well, first of all, let's tell us about the disease that you was diagnosed with.
I grew up hearing it as Lou Gehrig's disease from the baseball player from the 1930s. Great athlete. They call it ALS now. I don't even know what the ALS means exactly. It doesn't matter to me. But basically, the way it's explained to me was everyone pretty much has like a wiring in through their brain that connects throughout the body. And with ALS, it's like with most people, the wires connect. With us, it doesn't connect. And depending on the type of ALS, where it started, 3 to 5 years is the average life expectancy. I was diagnosed in July, but we tracked it back. So basically February from 2 years ago is when mine began. And, so I have, I don't know, year, 2 years, possibly, probably a year left until I just say move on. I don't even call it death. I just call it moving on. So, yeah.
So what you're saying with the disease itself, the Lou Gehrig's disease, mostly everyone who contracted Lou Gehrig's disease live from the time they was diagnosed
3 to 5 years.
What about 3 to 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
So during that primary stage, tell us about even being diagnosed.
Well, it was interesting. It takes about a year to be diagnosed because there's no test. So, for example, I started with vertigo, just things spinning. And I've always had bad sinuses. And so I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor. And he said, no, this isn't in your inner ear. But he also said you have bad nasal passages, and I'm going to do surgery and clean out your nasal passages. Later, I said, you've given me, I think, a great last year, because now I can breathe better than I ever have. Right. So he sent me on to a neurologist, my local neurologist. He examined me, and he kind of had his ideas. And he said, I want to send you on to the medical university. I'm in Kansas, Topeka. And luckily in Kansas City, about an hour and a half away, is one of the regional ALS centers in the country. It's all connected, Mayo Clinic, and they have regional centers. So I'm really blessed to be there. And they gave me scans and MRIs and like electro pin shocks stepping down your body. And since none of this, they test for something, it wasn't that. They go, okay, let's test. And then finally they narrow it down to ALS. And it was really interesting because my wife was at work, and she's a nurse practitioner. And usually when I go to the doctor, I just hand her the phone and they talk, and I sit in the corner because they're talking medical lingo. I have no clue. And when he told me, I was with my wife on the phone. We were all on the phone, three-way call. And he said, hang up with your wife. I want to talk to you private. So I hung up. And he told me. And to be quite honest, I was like, okay.
Just like that.
Just like that. And then we called my wife. If you know the 5 levels of, grieving, the Kubler-Ross was like first one's disbelief, and then anger, and then bargaining, and I forgot what the other one is, and then acceptance. And I just was like, okay. And my wife, she started on stage 1. She was like, there is no way you have this. And then she got angry, and she didn't believe it. And then like a month later, we went to a team. We have special teams we meet with every 4 months. I'll meet my team on the 31st again. And she kept on arguing with them that it can't be. And I just sat there and I said, yeah, it's it. Don't worry about it. And, it's like, I just call it a mortality quickener. Look, we're all going to die.
Yeah,
But that doesn't bother me.
but the stage,
that bothers me.
the stage of, or the fact of knowing
It was a
that,
relief.
yeah, just like something like ALS, and understanding what it is. And that's one thing that I fear most, right? And not to put you on get you more nervous, but that's my fear, because I had a friend who went through it, and it is not pretty. If people understand what it is, it's a muscle degenerating disease. So even your eye that blink, it's a muscle control your eye. Your breath that you take is muscle. Everything is muscle. Your heartbeat is a muscle. Everything is a muscle. So by it degenerating, it makes it just gets less and less and less until these muscles don't work anymore.
So it's over.
But you just accepted it.
Yeah. I mean, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Say no? Well, it's obvious I had it.
Right.
Am I going to be angry? I don't know. Okay. I spend my whole adult life ministering. I'm ordained. I have a doctorate in religion. I mean, I've been to probably 50 deathbeds. I mean, I've dealt with death head on from children to, dying of old age. And that didn't bother me. I'm like, okay, my dream, I'll tell you what, my dream was always my family die of stroke. And if you know Carriacou, I always told my wife, and when everyone dies in their 70s in my family, like 72 is the magic number. And I said, if you know the big hill between Bogles and Bel Air in the back, that's my favorite hill to walk. And I said, my dream is to be walking up that hill and just die of a massive heart attack. My cousin just died of a massive heart attack riding a bike. He loved riding bikes. Boom. And I said, man, I'm jealous. I mean, the mortality rate is 100%. So instead of getting my dream pass, I mean, everybody's like, what's your dream how to die? Everyone says in their sleep or doing something I like. That was my dream. And I didn't get it. But what's interesting is I was telling my bishop about this. I'm very close with my bishop. And I said, I think this big drum, living funeral, is the greatest ministry the most important ministry I've ever done in my life.
Stick a pin right there, because I want to update some of our viewers who just came in. Now, if you just came in, guys, we were talking to Jack. Jack was diagnosed with ALS, right? ALS, some people might know it as Lou Gehrig's disease. Lou Gehrig's disease is a muscle degenerating disease. It basically, people who's diagnosed with ALS, doctors give them about 3 to 5 years, right? Because it just go downhill from that point. At this point there's no cure for Lou Gehrig's disease. So Jack was told that he had ALS, and he just went straight to the acceptance phase. He just accepted the fact that that's what it is. Um, and for a lot of people, it's hard to understand. But the truth and the fact about it is, because of what Jack has been doing for over the years, he's a minister. He understands about faith and he understands about death and dying. The mortality rate is 100%. Everybody's going to die someday. So he accepted death. He basically said, okay, bring it on. Right. So that's where we are right now. If you just came in, that's a quick update. So tell us, when you thought about it, you spoke about it with your wife, what preparations did you have to make now that you know that, hey, this might be a short live? What next? What about my will? What about what I want to do? Tell us what you decided after you was diagnosed and after you was uh,
Well,
given this
first
information.
we had bought a house out in the country a year ago, so I've been slowly trying to our house like 2 apartments. So I've been painting a little bit, and we're bringing construction people in to remodel for disability and stuff in the future, like next month. But what I said was, like I said, I performed, I don't know, 50 funerals, 40, 50, 60. And people would always tell me, they would say stuff like, I flew in from Alaska for my uncle's funeral. And I was like, that's good. When was the last time you saw your uncle? 10 years ago. And I never said this because I was the clergy, but I always thought, why didn't you show up 6 months ago, a year ago? What's your uncle going to get out of this? The zero. But if you would have visited him, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, it would have been a nice time, a nice closure. So I call it my living funeral tour, and it sounds strange, but I've been traveling and visiting friends, and friends have been coming around visiting me from the U.S. And because of COVID, I worked all over the world. I worked in the Middle East for several years. So I have friends from Saudi Arabia who want to fly in, and Ireland who want to fly in. I had friends in Ireland who wanted to come to the big drum, but because of COVID, they couldn't come. So I've just been doing that, but I've been doing it a bit differently. I'm spiritual, but I don't know. Some friends get together and spend a weekend, I don't know, watching sports or drinking beer. It sounds like my buddies and I, we meet at monasteries,
Right.
and do religious retreats. I've been doing it for 30 years. And so I think September, my bishop, my best minister buddy lives up in Wisconsin, drove down, and we met in Oklahoma, where I'm from, and went to a Benedictine monastery, spent like a week there, for like 5 days or something, and just began to prepare, to let go and prepare. And then I went and saw my family in Oklahoma City. And then the next month, my wife had a conference in Colorado, and we flew there. And then I have a very good friend who is the abbot of a Buddhist monastery in Taos, New Mexico, up in the mountains. It's
Right.
private. He never wants anybody to know where it's at. It's like very private, and it'd be hard to find. And so my wife and I've been to this monastery a dozen times. Once I spent 3 weeks there.
Right.
And my wife and I, we drove over there from Colorado Springs. My bishop came up and met us there. And then we had another religious retreat. So my 3 closest spiritual friends, or I call them spiritual buddies, one is a bishop, one is an abbot, and one is a pastor in Wisconsin. And so we've been spending a lot of time together.
Right.
And they knew about this and were helping me to prepare for it.
How do you prepare? Before I ask how do you prepare, because you're speaking about that, but how do you envision yourself in death? Because I think that's what you're trying to represent when you have a living funeral. People come and they read, the
Yeah.
obituary. They do all this stuff. What was the plans? Like walk us through where, because I know you picked Carriacou because you have a lot of love for Carriacou. You pick Carriacou. Just walk us through the step of planning that.
Okay. Carriacou is my favorite place on earth. My wife and we first started going there in 2006. We were volunteer missionaries with the Bogles Methodist Church, if you know Carriacou. And my wife, Karen, is a nurse practitioner, and she was doing village nursing, mostly around, Cherry Hill and up to that area, and also Lister and everywhere in between. And we spent a few months there and really liked it. And then we went back to the States. And then a couple of years later, I wanted to go back, and we spent 2 years there. The only problem I have with Carriacou is I can't make a living. I can't figure out how to make money there, and a decent, So that's my only drawback to the island. So I didn't want to. I don't know. I've lived in Alaska and worked with Eskimos and Athabascans, and I just like that kind of life.
Right.
So someone said, with my background, I could be a professor overseas and make pretty good money and travel the world.
Right.
And I said, all right, where does it pay the most? And they said, Saudi Arabia. Boom, I was there like a month later.
Right.
And there you get 11 weeks off every summer. So basically from then on, I spent my summers in Carriacou. I come into the U.S. My wife was doing grad school at the time, and she was doing it partly in Saudi and partly actually in Carriacou because it's mostly internet. And we just go to Carriacou and spend the summer. A lot of times renting a house, a lot of times house sitting, because a lot of the JCBs and all those guys, they leave the cold, but when it's summer again, they go back.
Right.
So they need someone to watch their house. So I get to watch nice houses for free and just pay their electricity and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So I spent most of my summers doing that. And I've been to, I don't know, dozen, 15, I don't know, big drums. And if probably a famous person from Carriacou is Winston Flaherty, if you've ever heard of him.
Yeah, I know Winston Flaherty.
Yeah, everybody knows Winston.
Yeah.
And he's like the historian, the cultural, I can't say enough about him. And he and I really became very close friends. And we spent a lot of time together, a lot of time together over the years. He just passed away a couple of years ago. And last time I saw him was in Top Hill. He got his second leg amputated. But he taught me a lot about because he's I'll use the president. He's a very spiritual person.
Yeah.
Very spiritual.
Yeah.
And he got me involved with Spiritual Baptist Church. And I began to, I've always studied, I'll say mysticism. That's why I go to monasteries. Monasteries are run by mystics.
Right.
Monks and such. And and I considered Winston Flaherty one.
Right.
And up in that level, his level is very high.
Yeah.
And like very high. And his mind, oh my God, I could talk about him for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And never repeat myself. And so he got me interested in big drum, a lot about big drum.
Right.
He helped me write a paper for big drum that we got published in an anthropology UK magazine journal, and the guy's academic too, and he just got me interested in all of this, and a doctoral dissertation was written on big drum. I don't know. I go by the heart.
So big drum, and the culture of Carriacou really drew you in. So you decided to incorporate the big drum into your funeral. So did you get a chance? Were you watching? Were you a part of the funeral as it was happening? Tell us how it. Where were you when when the living funeral was taking place?
First, if you know Carriacou, up by the airport on the beach, there's that little bar right on the beach, and we rented that, and for about my wife had a friend come with us, and we had 2 apartments, and for basically the week leading up, I just told my wife, "Don't come in. You're staying with Jenny, your friend. I want to be left totally alone." And I just began to, wow, it was hard. It was a lot of mourning. And, I'm not a crier. I was an Army officer.
Yeah.
I grew up with farm blood in me. We don't cry.
Yeah,
But
let me update.
hey,
Let me update again,
yes.
guys, because I don't want to lose anyone on this story right here, guys. You're looking at Jack, and Jack has been diagnosed with ALS. I saw someone asking what is ALS, and as we explained earlier, is a muscle degenerating disease. Um, Jack was told, well, at the end of the day, God make the final decision. So doctors could say a year, 2 years, but you never know. Things could turn, and you could walk down the street and something has happened to you. No, it's not proof that you will die from ALS. I mean, anything could happen.
Yeah,
But
bus
anyway,
accident.
yeah, you could die tomorrow. So doctors said that he has about another year or so. So he decided to plan his own funeral while he's present, right? And he decided to go into Carriacou and did it in Carriacou because of the culture of Carriacou, which he loves so much. He's been there a whole lot of times. And the funeral went on. There was big drums, there were dancing, and people was I mean, it's hard to think about it because it's sad. Because knowing that this is imminent in the next year or so, and you're watching people celebrate or do whatever they would have done if you were dead. It's hard for the mind to wrap your mind around it. you know
I'm
but
the
does
only
that
person
did
I've
that
heard of
add
doing this.
did that add comfort to you? Did that make you feel like you accomplished, that was an accomplishment to see how people would react after you die?
No, I told my wife, told my friends, I said, this is 100% about me. This is 0 about you. And it's if you know anything about the spiritual Baptists, they have a thing called mourning ground where I don't want to go into it, but it's 4 to 7 days depending. And they say you leave your body, you draw a cat. I could talk about it for a long time. I would just read about it.
Right.
And as I was beginning to prepare in October, September, I was contacting people in Carriacou and with the Spiritual Baptist Church up in Lestaire, up on the top of the hill. And I said, I like to do a mourning ground. I had always wanted to do it. But my problem was you do not do a mourning ground during hurricane season. So every time I spent my summers there, there was no chance to do it because it was during hurricane season. So, so I said, okay, I'd like to do this. And they said, okay, we'll prepare it. But when I got there, I didn't have, we met and we all agreed I don't have that kind of strength. Like I was telling you earlier, I said, I did nothing today. I rested the whole day just for this. And it took a shot of coffee, espresso before. So this is not a normal day for me. It's okay. I'm fine with it completely. And so we realized we couldn't, and I always wanted a big drum. So I said, maybe we can mix this kind of morning, I don't know, a condensed version, 7 days and within 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
And so I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on that. And so I just began spiritually and mentally and emotionally working on that for a month, just preparing myself for those 4 hours that I knew. And leading up to last week, especially the last 3 days, that was the hardest. Just letting go and mourning.
Yeah.
And then when we started, and you can see on the video that Hunter made, that I got a big chair, basically the only chair I trust on the island right now, because I get dizzy and stuff. And a friend brought a big heavy chair. We sat, there it is. We sat it on the beach, and I faced away. The big drum was far away from me on the other side, not far, maybe 20, 30 yards, but no one would see me. They could see me, but I wouldn't see them. It was beautiful because I was looking at my favorite thing to do at sunset is to watch the birds feed. Yeah. And the birds were feeding, the gulls were feeding, and it was just peaceful. And
what's your take on generic style funeral? Do you think that it's how should I put it? Because a lot of people put a lot into it, right? Do you think it's too much of nothing because you're celebrating someone that is dead? And for some people, they go to a funeral and they cry long tears for their mother, their sister, whatever, and they never spoke to their mother, their sister, or their aunt for 2 years.
I've
right?
seen it dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
Right.
Dozens.
So it's more important that now that you're alive, that I come to you and say, I love you, I care about you, I give you flowers, I give you your eulogy while you are here to hear it. I tell you how I feel, I speak good of while you're here to listen to it. Because when you're dead, you're not hearing anything. That's why I like the idea of this living funeral. I think that it is probably a novel idea, but people put so much into funerals, and it's not for the dead. It's for the people that are alive. So
go to a funeral home and talk to a funeral director, and that guy can sell you. There's not such thing as a poor funeral director.
Yeah, true.
I have sat through negotiations, just sat in the back and watched families, and they start with let's say a $5,000 funeral in their head, and they end up with a $15,000 funeral in their head. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money to put someone in a hole in the ground. Because you could be giving that to charity. Yeah. The money that we would spend on a funeral, we spread it around the island.
Yeah.
And then I gave a decent amount to a specific person, and I just said, take care of We decided what we wanted to focus on. We wanted to focus on the children, especially school books and things like that.
Right.
And then, and I said that'll be that side of money, and then the other side will be to help families and such like that. And we've already dispensed some of the monies, and
Right.
so I just took the money that we would spend on a regular funeral in Kansas, and we spread it around Carriacou.
Wow. So what happened to you when you die? What happened then?
Well, I call it moving on.
Moving on. Okay, so I won't use the word
My
death.
body will go directly to the ALS Research Center in Kansas City. They'll dissect my brain and my spine, and I think another part. And then I've asked them just to take my body and just send it over to the med school. Let the students practice on me, because what I need my body for, I'm gone. I don't need that body.
But Jack,
I'm doing something totally different.
but Jack, you're saying this so nonchalant. You are this is difficult. Just to think about it. I know we're gonna die someday. Everybody know that they're gonna die someday.
Move on.
Move on, sorry.
I
But
like that better. Isn't it nice?
yes, it's a nice term. But it's not easy to accept and just say, okay, well, they're just gonna dissect me. And uh, did you have to go through like a process of getting no, it was just you just came to that realization that was just
No, I planned on this for 30 years. I've been a donor. I have in my records, I have donated my body to science for the last 30 years. So I just know now where it's going to go and who it's going to help best.
right.
Because why can't you keep on helping people? Reality. And I'm excited about people. Who knows? Maybe I might be that little straw that helps create something for the future.
Right. Okay, so you're not scared of death, and we should not be scared of death because we are gonna die someday. It's imminent. What are you scared of? What's your fear?
Being paralyzed. Luckily, I'm in level 1. My ALS, there's 3 places it can begin. One is your legs, one is what they call the trunk, the middle, and one your arms. Mine have begun in my legs, and then they divide the body in half. So even though I'm right-handed, it's my right leg is where it's mostly at, and it's spreading, and there's, for those who have ALS, they would understand about these muscle twitches which happen when you relax. And I take this medicine for muscle relaxers and Valium and all this. Those are scary, the twitches, because you could get 30 twitches a minute for an hour.
Wow.
And so that's kind of that's a bit scary. And then sometimes you feel the body, what we call it, the inward vibration. And I can't explain all of this because there's no words, at least in my vocabulary. But you talk to another ALS person and you use the word twitching or vibration, they know exactly what you're talking about. And I hope none of you will ever know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
None of you will.
Deanne Fraser says that I know that there's no medication for no cure for ALS.
Right.
Have they that does herb work? Any kind of herb? Have that been tried?
There's a special drug called Ridealong, and it's very sometimes difficult to get. I get it, and that's supposed to prolong strength for about 6 months. And about 2 months ago, I didn't get it for about 3 days. It's a special pharmacy. It's sometimes crazy to deal with. I was on the phone an hour today dealing with it. And I was off it for 3 days, and day 3 I was bedridden. So, but as soon as I got on the med, I just got back up. And so hopefully the Ridealong will last for a good long while. I'm on a trial for, I'm on the last phase of a trial that's for balance, because you lose your balance. And my wife can tell you what's nice about being indoors, you can bounce into walls. You can't bounce into walls outside and if you see me walk somewhere, you'll see me walk by a wall. Like if I am walking, let's say downtown Carriacou, Hillsborough, you're going to see me walking right by a wall, just because, and I have a cane, and just because. And so I'm doing that, and then also there's a lot of people lose their ability to speak because of the muscles, and people begin to slur their words, and I was doing that. So I'm part of the research with this group too, and they said I have an advantage, and they said use these certain tools I know. One, they said you used to give a lot of sermons. I said yes. In a sermon, you must pronounce every word correctly. You must enunciate. Then I worked as a professor overseas. You have to speak slowly. You have to enunciate. So they said, start speaking slowly and enunciating every word. And if you notice, I speak a little slower, and I work on enunciation. If I just spoke free consciousness, you start hearing me slur words. And we've done all this. Like I said, I'm working with a professor on all of this, and it's pretty interesting work.
Yeah. This story makes you look at life differently, right? Because whether you have ALS or anything or whatever, from the time you were born, it's very eminent that you will die someday. And the only thing that is important, as I told a friend, is that dash between the birth date and your death date. That dash. And that dash is everything that you do up until this point. What are you doing now? Like, are you trying to just live every day differently? Are you trying to just make every minute, every breath count? How are you living? What is your normal day? What is your normal day? Your normal routine?
All right. I get up around 7. 2 or 3 days a week, depending on the week. I go to what they call physical therapy, and working mostly on balance and things. So I'm lucky to have that. And there's special neurologist, physical therapist. I'm lucky there.
Right.
Depending on how I feel after that, some days, man, I'm exhausted the whole day afterwards, and I'm just right in bed. Other days, I feel okay. A few days a week, we bought this house out in the country before I was diagnosed, and I'm fairly good at remodeling things. And so I can't do heavy things, so I'm just painting, and I can paint about 2-3 hours a day, probably 3 days a week. So I do that, and I'm slow at it. But the day I can't do it, that's scary, because I'd say at least I'm producing slow. Too many times to the doctor. Sometimes I live by a college town called Lawrence, and that's a pretty cool place. And I'll meet friends there, and we'll go mess around. And but wherever I go, like if I visit someone, I have to be like, for example, my wife's very close with her family, and they're about an hour from here, but they have small children, and I can't go there because I may be in the middle of a sentence with you, and my body will just go like that,
Ooh.
and I'll just go, it's over, and I leave. And I must be at a place that has a quiet, dark room, and the house must be quiet. It can't be, full of bouncy kids. So I go to a quiet, dark room and just lay down. I might sleep. I might rest. I might be there 30 minutes. I might be there 5 hours. I just all kinds of ways. So I have to choose who I can visit because they must have that room.
Right.
So, there's no, like, my wife will be going to visit her family this weekend. And she goes, you want to go? And I said, no, I can't. I said, even their basement, the kids are running around playing.
Right.
So there's no quiet place for me to disappear to. And that's fine. And when they come visit us, we have a 2-story house, like 2 apartments. So if I feel like that, I just tell everybody, you go upstairs, I'm staying downstairs.
Right.
And they know that. They're good with it.
Yeah.
And I just go, don't be so loud. And maybe I'll see you. Maybe I won't.
Right.
At the end of the day, it just, like I said, I could be 30 minutes or it's very strange taking 5-hour naps from 12 in the afternoon till 5 or 6 at night.
Jack, how is your wife dealing with all of this?
Much more stressful than I am. So in the beginning, she just wouldn't believe it. The Kubler-Ross five stages. And even with the doctors, when we went to my team meeting with like 5 or 6 full professionals, mostly doctors and nurse practitioners. And they said, yeah, he has it. And I said, yeah, we have it. And she still argued. And then she began to accept it. And so she's accepting it more. And we just moved into a different phase of our relationship. And, I just mostly crack a lot of stupid jokes about what she's going to do. She takes dogs back from Carriacou.
Oh, wow.
He had a dog that's Brownie. Every dog in Carriacou must be called the color, And so she had Brownie for 9 years, and then Brownie passed away, and we had to wait for COVID, and then we're back, and she has a dog now that's 7 weeks old, and is staying at a friend's house until it could be 16 weeks old, and go down to the vet and get it shot. And there is actually a person in Grenada who is a dog travel agent.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, I didn't
All
either.
of you know what's most astonishing? You know what's most astonishing? You have such a good sense of humor about this. But I know why, and I understand. Life is about kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
So whether you have ALS, you have COVID, you don't have any debilitating disease or whatever, you will move on at some point in time in your life. Life is about kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
Life is about kicking. So we all in the same boat, Me, you, and everybody else watching. We're in the same boat.
I went to a lecture on a bunch of stuff about a few months ago, in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the person, he was head of the health, just retired as head of public health of New Mexico, and he's running a slideshow. And he said, the mortality rate of human beings in 1865, 100%. 1920, 100%. 2021, 100%. And when you see that, you're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. So there's no difference, but it makes you look at life a little bit. Like, let me tell you a quick story that I do a lot of funerals as well. I
You told
stream
me.
a lot of funerals, and oftentimes I sit there and I look at people's behavior, and I look at, people come in and they're crying and they're talking. I even went to a funeral that there was a fight, but that's besides the story.
I've
But
been
I'm
to one
asking
of those. I've
myself,
been to a gunfight.
yeah, yeah. I'm asking myself, when last did you take the time when that person was alive to go to them and bring a flower for them or tell them you love them, or did you do anything to show your appreciation for that person's life?
That's right.
And the truth and the fact is that people take this thing so for granted. They take life so much for granted. Like you could get up today and you're going to work and you're certainly gonna come back. That is not, there's no guarantee that you will come back home.
That's
You have
exactly right.
Yeah, you could get hit by a car as soon as you walk through the door. You could get hit by a gun. So life has no guarantees. The only guarantee in life is death. At the end of the day, you will move on. Promise I wouldn't say death anymore. You would move on. And you came to that realization, and I think everyone should come to that realization. So what needs to be done now is prepare, like how you were prepared, prepare for that imminent time. Prepare, whether it's insurance, your will, just prepare, because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen.
Oh
Prepare
yeah.
for what is imminent. No matter if you 35, 55, 65, whatever, it's imminent. Prepare. I talk to people about life insurance. I talk to people about will. I talk to people about making sure that you tell that person that you with, that you love them. Let people know how you feel about them. You know what I mean? And do everything that you want to do. Don't hold back. And
Yeah.
I can see that in you. You are living, you're doing, and you want your rose, your flowers now. And
Yeah, I want my hugs and kisses. I want to sit and yell at the TV at sports with my friends and all of that. And yeah, but one thing is, well, it's interesting. My team, my ALS team, told me, they said, you are the most at peace and comical patient we've ever had. And but I've been prepared for this. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I spent 3 years in seminary.
yeah,
That's about preparing for these type of things. I mean, I was a U.S. Army chaplain. That's dealing with a lot of this kind of stuff. I was a pastor of a
yeah,
church. I went back and got my doctorates. That took me a long time. That's for sure. So I've been dealing with this as a pastor, academically, uh, in my heart, my soul, and my emotion for years.
3 years. Yeah,
And so I'm kind of like, if I get angry, is that going to change things? No.
true.
And, what's also fun is the things I used to worry about, I stopped worrying about them.
Yeah,
Like, for example, my God, I got to make sure this retirement is blah, blah, blah. Well, I just started ripping out my retirement money and giving it away. My
oh,
wife sat out.
yeah.
She's, so that's
Wow,
fun. That's fun to do.
it's fun.
Uh, it's, it's fun just to walk up to somebody and hand them like
Wow.
100 EC and say, go have a fun day.
Yeah. No, you're a good guy, Jack.
No, thanks.
And in life or in death, you're gonna be always remembered for your good deeds. I say that we all are like a mango tree. We bear fruits for other enjoyment, not for us necessarily. A mango never eats its own fruit, so we bear fruits for people to enjoy the fruits. And I
Mhm.
see that in you. You are that person. And I don't want to drain any more of your energy.
No.
Um,
Actually, I feel really good now.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
it
just
doesn't
I just
matter.
got a message from Hunter. I just got a message from Hunter.
Uh-huh.
Hunter is the one who put me on to you. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay,
I'm listening
yeah.
to him too.
Hunter said hi. Hunter did the video. Spice. Is it Sister Isle Media? Big up Hunter.
Mhm.
He does great job over there. And
It's fantastic.
yeah, great guy, great guy, great guy. Listen, I want you to talk to our audience a bit. Um, I know we will have faith, and I do still have faith that what's the date today? What's the date today? The
I think
20th?
20. I think
Today,
20.
20.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about we plan an interview for next year, the same time?
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
Hey,
But
it is possible.
I don't think so.
Okay. All
But
right.
I'm good with it. But do we have a little bit of time?
Yes,
I'll
sure. I
this might seem odd to some people, but there's another reason why I chose Carriacou
right.
to do this. And I've studied theologies, religions all over the world. I mean, I've even been to Mecca, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. Been twice. But I used to be chaplain for a lot of the villages in Alaska, up around Upper Yukon Valley, especially the Athabascans. And there is my wife's looking at me. She just came home, and they have not the Inuits, the Inupiats, the Alaska, Athabascans, I think all the way down to the Koyukon in the south. They have this view of death or moving on, and I like
Mhm.
this view.
Mhm.
I've studied them all. Trust me, I've studied them, and they believe this, that when a person, I'll use the word dies, moves on,
Mhm.
that they look down into their family clan and they find a pregnant woman and they go inside this woman and become a guardian angel for that fetus to the baby until the baby reaches I don't know, 12 years old, when the kid can take care of him or herself. And I've talked to a lot of village elders all over Alaska who are also ministers of their church, and they have told me stories enough for me to believe it. If you
Right.
believe in the streets of gold, why can't you believe in this?
Yes. Yes.
There's no difference. And so I thought, when I heard this theology, I was like 27, 28, probably 28. It's always stuck with me. I said, this is what I want my next after Earth life to be. I want to be a guardian angel. And if I'm using the Athabascan theology, which I am, I mean, I'm getting real kind of theological on this,
Mhm.
is that if my soul is going to be going up and I'm looking for a child to go into, I want to go into a child in Carriacou
Wow.
and be a guardian angel for that child. And people might go, that's crazy. And I go, it's no crazier than walking the streets of gold.
Hmm.
What's the difference? Except is this: are you loving God to keep yourself out of hell, which is nothing, means God is just an insurance policy. So that's a worthless love. Are you loving God so you get this paradise and afterwards, So what? That's worthless too, right? Because you're like, I'm living so I get some kind of reward. But nah, it's like, when I'm done with this life, keep using me, God.
Mhm.
And I like that theology best. That's why my body's going to be going to research and into a medical school. Keep on using me. Let me help people. After this, Maybe I have no idea what consciousness. You know, my favorite book in the Bible is Ecclesiastes, and it basically says no one knows what happens next. No one's come back and told us.
Right.
So who knows? And it says basically live the life the best you can, and God will take care of it. And I believe that. So my idea is just to keep on ministering for God, if possible, if that's what God has for me. But beats, I mean, think about it. Walking the streets of gold sounds okay, but by God, that could get boring after a while. But helping people, and there's a lot of kids in Carriacou all over the world who need help.
Yes.
Yeah, I could do it, but I chose Carriacou for this so that I would symbolically, and who knows, I just keep on, I'll just go right back in to Carriacou and help people.
Listen, I'm getting a lot of interest from our viewers to follow your progress.
Yeah.
Do you have a vlog where people could follow you? Do you post stuff?
No, Facebook me. Just look up. Problem with my name is this. There's a dog that has my name. There's only one dog that's named after, and it's Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one to find to do.
Yes.
But if you poke around and maybe write Jack Russell, I don't know, Carriacou or something like that, you can find me. I'm a lot of times on the Carriacou web, because I don't know, I'm not a tech guy.
Right.
But afterwards, you and I could hook up on Facebook, and then you
Yeah.
could just take my stuff, my information, and send it over.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do, Jack, I'm gonna share your information with some of our viewers that want to connect with you.
And email. You can
An
send me an
email,
And
yeah.
we do it.
And we're gonna continue to follow your progress.
Yeah.
I consider what we're doing here as well as guardian angel kind of work, because we do try to help a lot of people, and I'm impressed that you have the same heart, the same emotion to help people, because I see it as we are not for ourselves. We wasn't put here to eat the fruits of all our labor. We have to share it. We have to extend it. And I'm happy I found you, because you share the same feeling, the same consciousness. And
That's
it's
exactly
important.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna continue to follow your progress as much and as far as it goes. I'm gonna keep updated on what you're doing, and I'm gonna update my audience as well.
Yeah, we could meet every few months.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I want to follow your progress and know that you will be forever blessed for the blessing that you gave to others, and it would not be forgotten. People will always remember and always know the good things that you've done.
Yeah, and a friend of mine who is a writer, writes for magazines and such, she contacted me today, and she just sent off information to a newspaper to kind of wiggle some bait. And if they're interested, we're going to start writing some articles, and because I published a lot of articles about Carriacou, if you
Right.
can believe it, all over the world. And so she, professional writer, I write enough to get published. And I told her, I said, if we'll just take all the, if the newspaper likes it, we know others will too.
Yes.
And I said, if you promise to, we were talking about this, if take all of our earnings, if we get whatever earnings they may be, I said,
Right.
I'll only do it one way. If we take our earnings and we send it over to Carriacou, because I said, that's way it'll be blessed. If we're doing it for us, I mean, try to line our pockets, which whatever amount of money, could be
Yeah.
little, could be a lot. I said, God's not going to bless it. You got to ship it off.
Yeah.
And the stories about Carriacou, and it would be really cool to just tell this story, and so to the point where it's, helping kids at the primary schools, and because we want to really focus on the kids,
Yeah.
especially if I my goal was really to put my money into the lunch program at the primary schools, but maybe we can get set up to do something like that. Send it to, Blaze, and he's to me Mr. Charity of Carriacou,
Right.
and set that up to him. And we'll see how it all works, but that's my dream from this story, because I'm seeing it. It's just expanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just expanding.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Listen, Jack, I really appreciate you sharing that story because it gives new appreciation for life, and people look at life differently. And I think that people take for granted, like people look at money and people look at material things, and what is it worth? What is it really worth to have $1 million in the bank, and you die, there's $1 million in the bank, and you don't even get to spend that $1 million. You don't even get to bless someone with some of some of that, right? That stays there. You have cars and you have trucks and all of that stuff. You die, it's not going in the grave with you. We all go in one box and into the ground, and we become, part of the soil at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
My
So it,
favorite book is Ecclesiastes, and basically, it's telling an old man looking back on life, and which is me, and it basically says you're born naked and poor, and you're going to go to bed. You're going to die naked. You can't take it with you, so use it the best you can.
yeah, yeah,
And buying stupid toys isn't using it the best you can, if you know what I mean.
yes, absolutely.
A Porsche is a very expensive toy.
Yeah, yeah. It's better to live your life with a purpose and blessing.
That's right.
Um, and that is a takeaway. Jack, I wish you what do we wish you? We wish
Wish
we
you a happy January 20th.
a happy
And
January
let's
20th.
talk.
Happy
Let's talk
January
maybe March 20th or something.
Yes. I'll check up on you again
Yeah,
March 20th.
life is good. It
Yeah.
is.
Life is amazing.
It is. It's
Yes.
also it's what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Jack, any final word before we wrap up with you?
No, I guess my only question would be: are you going to post this for people who, like, I put it online, but a lot of my friends, we're at work and such.
Yeah.
You're going to post it on, or you just email me and tell
Yeah,
me
yeah. I'll
what
send
you
you the
want.
link.
But
I'll send you the link.
I want to keep on, because a lot of my friends said, "Hey, I'm at work. I want to see it," but
Yeah, now they could watch it. They could watch it after. It will still be available online
Mhm.
for everyone to go and check out, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And we'll keep in touch.
And tell
Jack.
your listeners to contact me, email me, Facebook me, because my ministry is not done yet.
Yeah, I got you.
Neither are theirs.
Exactly. Jack, we'll keep in touch. All right. I'll check up with you on March
Yeah,
30th. All
yeah.
right.
Hey,
All right.
take care, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Enjoy. I hope COVID's okay in Brooklyn. It's not too good here.
Yeah,
Take
yeah. Well,
care.
hey, it's not good anyway, actually.
Erica went from 6 to 14 in one day. Scared me to death.
Yeah, it's not good anywhere. It's not good anywhere at all. Jack?
The blessings today, blessings tomorrow, my friend.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And again, for the folks that's watching, I'm gonna put a link to Jack's page if you want to check him out and follow him. But mark my word, on the 30th, I'm gonna do 30th of March. I'm gonna do a follow-up program
I
on
like
my
that.
yeah on Jack and see what he does, what he's doing. Thanks again, Jack. We'll keep in touch.
All right. And they can go to Jack Russell's Living Funeral on YouTube and see a lot of stuff.
Right, Jack Russell Living Funeral. I'll put the link also in the description here.
Oh, thank you
folks
so
can
much.
watch it. Appreciate it, Jack.
Hey, take care, George.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, guys. So let me tell you guys why I enjoy this conversation. I wanted to have this conversation with Jack today, right? I was at a funeral just a little while ago before I came here, and the pastor was giving a sermon, and he was speaking about that dash, right? There is your birth date, and there's a dash, and then there is a death date. Now we are living in that dash, that little dash. This is what I want everyone to do, and this is what the pastor encouraged. I want you to use that dash as now and your future, and do what you need to do, everything that you need to do within that dash. Some people, they want to start a business. They want to do so many different things, and they keep putting it off, and they keep kicking the can down the road for another day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, right? There is no guarantee that you will live to see tomorrow. So instead of waiting, putting things off, wasting time, how about you use that dash and make the best of it? How about you use that dash between your birth date, because you were born at some point in time, you were born, and we're living in that dash. Before we reach that death date, use that dash to inspire others, to help others, to do something with your life that would leave a legacy, that people would look back and say, yes, this person was on earth and this is what they did. Do something. Don't waste your time. Don't squander your time, because we don't have eternity. That dash is very important. So I hope Jack kind of brought this home for everyone, right? Here is a man that was diagnosed with ALS. Doctors are saying that he has about another year or so. That's what doctors are saying. Things could change, and there is no guarantee that he will die from ALS. Jack could probably go to sleep tonight, right? Or he could possibly live another 2 years, 3 years. Who knows? Miracles happen. But here is Jack coming to the realization that life is that's life. You live and you die. It's all about kicking the can down the road and living your best life. So that's some of the takeaways that I want everyone to think about. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sharing. And live your life. Enjoy your life. And life is not all about what you could accumulate or how much you could accumulate, but I believe how much you could give, or what you could extend, or how much people you help, or how many people you could look back and say, yeah, well, this person, or say something good, actually something good about you and your personality. There is no time like the present, guys. Let's make it happen. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being a part of our programming today. Thanks to Hunter for hooking up this conversation with myself and Jack, and everyone who played a part in making sure that this happened here today. Our producer, Lois JJ, to our moderators, we have Deanne Fraser in the chat room right there, making sure everything works out. Kibbs and Gail and everyone on Team Ridealong, we say thank you so much for being a part of our programming today. Guys, tomorrow, Ride Trivia. I will be here on Ride Trivia, guys. We're playing Ride Trivia tomorrow. No Drama Friday. All right. Also, guys, before we go, I got to tell you this, that Grenada Independence is right around the corner. And if you have not yet gotten your Grenada Independence t-shirt, I want you to get it. There are t-shirts, there are hoodies, the polo shirts. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, you could order. You could go to the website is riderslive.com/Grenada48. Yeah, riderslive.com/Grenada48 and order your Grenada Independence t-shirt. Now, I must say again that these t-shirts and hoodies and polo shirts, they're not only for independence. They are for every time. If you're Grenadian, you're always Grenadian, not only during independence, and you're proud. So get your t-shirts. Order it right now at riderslive.Grenada48, or you could go to the Ridealong page and you could go to our shop. We have a shop on the Ridealong page. You could order right there as well, straight off of Facebook. You don't need to leave Facebook to do that. Appreciate you guys. And also, you know what we do here on Ridealong, right? It's all about helping people. And we have supporters. We have a group of supporters who make sure that this program get facilitated. It's only $4.99 a month, and you could be a supporter of Ridealong, and you know what we do with Christmas hampers, and we ensure that people get assistance. So if you want to be a supporter of this program, click that link right there and become a supporter. We need your help in order to continue to allow people to share their stories, and so we could do our deed over here. All right, we need your assistance. Thank you so much, guys. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Good night.
Do you feel sick? Are you unsure? Or need to travel, but can't afford the long, exhausting lines? Then you need to be tested for COVID-19. Here at All Pro Health Lab, you can schedule your appointment online. No wait, no lines, no hassle. And get your results back in 30 minutes or less. Call now to find out more. 516-828-1808. Our agents are always ready to help. Hear why
Hello there. Let me introduce you to the Nutmeg Band. Playing in the background is the latest release, Take Me to a Party.
Take me to a party.
This music is now available on leading online stores. So please, pick up your copy today and tell all your friends about it. Get your copy now.
Take me to a party.
Well, it's on Ridealong, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess you call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell.
Ridealong Live, I mean, yeah, it's the real deal.